All right, so the second part of the polynomial that you have to learn, the first is the term. You have to be able to identify the number of terms, is your degree of a polynomial, all right? And I don't mean do they have a bachelor's or a master's degree. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about the degree of your polynomial as far as exponents go. So when we talk about the degree of a polynomial, it is determined by the term with the highest exponent. Okay? Now that's going to be easy to figure out because there's only going to be one. Highest means it's going to be the exponent that's the largest number. Okay? So each one of these types of degrees has a name. Your first degree, okay, let's fill in your box here, is called linear. And you've heard us use the term linear equation, but I don't even know if you realize what we meant when we said it. When we said linear equation, that meant that the highest degree in that problem that you were solving or graphing was 1. So it would look like this. Okay? Your exponent is going to be attached to the variable. All right? And in this case, we have one variable. There's an invisible 1 right here. You should know that by now. So you might even want to say, if I don't see an exponent, it's automatically a linear degree, a linear equation. So this is what we've been working with. You worked with them in pre-algebra and all up to now, linear equations where the highest degree is 1. Okay? Your second degree is called a quadratic. We haven't really dealt a lot with quadratics. That's one of those units that we're going to see in quarter 4 to finish up your curriculum. A quadratic means that your degree, your exponent is 2. All right? So the difference between a linear equation and a quadratic equation would be that your variable now has a 2. All right? So 7x squared, that's a quadratic equation. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to solve them, we're going to graph them, we're going to do all kinds of things with the quadratic equation. If your degree is the third degree, we call that a cubic equation. And we don't do much with cubics in Algebra 1 other than identify them. If you're going to take Algebra 2 in a couple of years, you'll work with some cubic equations. That simply means that your degree, your highest degree, is 3. Now, let me say this. Just because I'm only showing you one exponent does not mean that's all you're going to see. You've got to remember the degree is the highest exponent. So you may have an x cubed, and you may have an x squared and an x in an equation. You still name your degree based on the highest exponent. It's still going to be cubic, even if you have an x squared and an x into your equation. And then if there's no degree, if there is no degree, it's just no variable, no x, no nothing, we call that a constant. And that's just a number. So in this case, my constant would be 1. Your constant doesn't change. You see, if I was to plug in numbers for these x values, that would change whatever these equations are equal to. But if all I have is a 1, it's always going to be equal to 1. That's constant. It doesn't change. So these are the names of your degrees. And in our next video, we're going to put it all together.